Britain's Ancient Tracks, tonight, 7 p.m, Channel 4 returning for a second series of Britain's Ancient Tracks. Tony Robinson is in his element. It's what I like to be immersed in more than almost anything else, he says, being sort of parachuted into landscapes with such potential for learning. The show sees history buff Tony exploring trackways that in some cases date back more than 5,000 years, with the presenter and historian stating, "I love the idea that one of the things that overlies our British landscapes is a whole network of ancient trails, and to see them brought to life, even if it's just in an engraving in a church, is something I find very romantic." In the first series, a three-parter broadcast last year, Tony traversed the Norfolk coast, the Ridgeway Nature Trail and the North Downs, discovering hidden caves, a burial chamber older than the pyramids and one of Julius Caesar's battlegrounds. This year, there are 4 episodes devoted to Dartmoor, Offa's Dyke, the Derbyshire Portway and the Roman Road of Deer Street, with the presenter discovering a bottomless lake, King Arthur's resting place, abandoned tunnels and medieval potions. Asked what most impressed him on his travels this time round, Tony hesitates. "It's not that I'm ducking the question, but they were all such spectacular walks," he says. Offa's Dyke is splendid. It's so big, with such fantastic views. Walking through the Derbyshire peaks was also great, as was actually walking through Hadrian's Wall, which is what you do in Deer Street, and up into Scotland. That was a revelation, but doing the whole show was an intense pleasure for me. At Offa's Dyke, which is on the England-Wales border, and was named after the Anglo-Saxon king who is thought to have ordered its construction in the AD 700s, Tony got to inspect the king's gold coin with its Islamic inscriptions on one side. It's one of the great PHBritain 66 puzzles about what was actually going on in Britain, where an English king would have Islamic inscriptions on his coins. We spent some time trying to solve that. He especially enjoyed delving into the story of the Hound of the Baskervilles and the actual Dartmoor locations, where the Arthur Conan Doyle novel was set. Following in the footsteps of Conan Doyle's famous sleuth Sherlock Holmes, did Tony feel like a detective himself? Absolutely, yes. And the great thing about walking through all these landscapes is that you generally don't know what you're going to see around the next corner. To be confronted by revelation after revelation is the real fun of it. Now 71, London-born Tony came to fame in the 1980s as Baldric in Blackadder, and scored a big hit in 1994 as the presenter of archaeological Showtime team. He now specializes in shows like Walking Through History and Tony Robinson's Time Travels, which allow him to indulge his passion for history. 2. June 9, 2015. Adrian Edmondson Rick Mail. Britain's Ancient Tracks is his most technically sophisticated show to date, which, given its extensive use of drones, he feels couldn't have been done a few years ago. Although it's about something that's ancient and historical, it's actually driven by modern technology, he explains. The old routeways, some of them dating back as far as the Stone Age, aren't always visible when you're on the ground. Or you just see little bits of them, so the only way to see great swathes of them is from the air. If you tried to use a helicopter to film them, my hat would blow off, you'd scare the sheep, and send them charging across the shot and you wouldn't be able to hear, because of the sound a chopper makes. But drones are the perfect way of seeing these tracks, while allowing me to natter away at the same time. It's a synthesis between ancient and modern. Tony believes viewers are as fascinated as he is by Oxford historical-themed shows, because they look at direct parts of our heritage. You see lots of shows about exotic countries and faraway places, but this is tangibly stuff about us, and it's wonderful. Britain's Ancient Tracks, tonight, 7 p.m, Channel 4.